So, you're about to start your first WARNO game. What do you need to know right before you begin? Let's go over a few things. Number 1, expect disaster. Expect to lose the first couple of matches that you're playing. Whether you're trying to do a skirmish against the AI, whether you're getting a hand at the campaign, if and when it's available, doing an operation, or going into a multiplayer match, expect to lose. And I don't say this because I doubt your skill level, but you are new at the game. You might have some experience with other RTSs, you might know Wargame Red Dragon, you might know Steel Division. Either of these games will prepare you only to some extent for what WARNO has to offer. So expect to lose the first couple of games. This is fine, just see it as a way to get into the game. Don't beat yourself up over it, try to enjoy the visuals, and go on to the next match. Before you do go on to the next match, make sure that you checked your previous mistakes. What did you do wrong in the last game? What could you do better? What sort of tactics did the enemy employ? Go to solo, click the load button on the right hand side. Bottom right hand side will take you to replays and fire up that replay of the last battle that you did. This way you can see what sort of tactics the enemy used, but also how the enemy was able to spot your units, for example. You can see what the enemy can see, and this way you can switch from your own line of sight to theirs, to a neutral viewer. You can slow down, you can speed up. The only button that Eugen, sadly, is still missing is the go back button, because there is no way to do that. So there's no way to rewind a replay. But what you can do with the replay system also is hide the HUD, and then have a look at some of your units in detail, take a screenshot, and you have a new wallpaper, for example. Next, if you are in a match, and it doesn't matter whether you're playing a skirmish or not, capture strategic areas. Don't just try to play for sectors. I've seen a lot of players, especially early players in Wargame Red Dragon, capture sectors only. For example, you start out in Kilo here in India, and you see Juliet as a first sector. It's not necessarily a key sector at the moment. Foxtrot is much more interesting. Because from a position such as the tree line here, the tree line here, or some of the buildings here, you have a pretty commanding position over Foxtrot. Yes, the enemy can still potentially walk in with infantry if they have enough time, so they could disembark in Delta and then traverse the woods and the hill and make it into your flank. But it is much more unlikely in WARNO because you don't have that many points. So try to capture more strategic locations early and fill in the gaps such as Juliet later. If you're not sure about what a good position would be, hold C. C is the line of sight tool, and it will tell you exactly what a unit can see from the position that your cursor is at. I've already identified the position here as a pretty damn good one in order to secure this town. If you put a tank down at the marker where I currently have my cursor, you can see that the line according to the road which heads this way is completely clear. So anything that comes down that road is going to get shot at if I have a tank there. Let's say that a tank or an APC or whatever they have is coming down this road and then turning this way. I can still see that. I can still see something the moment that it clears these two buildings, and a tank over here will shut that down very quickly. Don't think that, okay, I have captured Foxtrot, I have a CV, for example, down there at the bottom. I can just chill out with some infantry here. No, be aggressive. Try to capture a position such as this with infantry. Their M72 Law or their RPG-7 VR might not be much to work with, but if you have, for example, a building like this with a small tree line in front of it, the enemy is going to have a difficult time spotting you until they're on top of you. In this case, I would probably not take this building, I would take this one. Why? A tank has to come down this road. A tank, for example, maneuvers into a position here, and that's when you side shot it. And a side armor of a tank is always much more fragile. So take a strategic position or go for ambush positions. Now, I'm not going to go over every map in this video because that is not the aim of this video. This is just a very, very quick starter guide. Other positions over on the left-hand side, just to complete the example of this map. The building over here is decent for an HEGM position. So an HEGM squad can make pretty nice work of most of the areas here. It is, however, a little bit more fragile because of the range. HEGM infantry generally doesn't have the best range, and I'm trying to picture it. From about the building here, you can see an ATGM range of about this. And let's see, yeah, about here. So you can cover this road. You can cover this to some extent. But a tank, if it spots you, will still shoot your building. The position here on the tree line, this is a very nice ambush position, again, for short-range anti-tank infantry with LAWs or RPG-7 VRs. And further back, there's not really a good position as you have over here in Fox. This tree line is very nice. It provides you with cover, and you can shoot in every direction. Hotel doesn't quite have that. This one is good, this position here, but if you are in a very close conquest match, the enemy could position a command vehicle there and start to counter your command. So instead, you can try getting a command into here, a tank into here, but you are at risk of the buildings over there. So over here, you're going to have to play a bit more carefully and potentially use more infantry. Towards the middle of the map, you have the tree line here, but don't necessarily stick to the lines of the sector. Don't stick to the sector. Find a better position. The position here is okay, but not stellar. The position here commands this road. And if a unit wants to move up to you quickly, this position is a nice one. From here, you can also get at least some fire out onto the right-hand side. From this side, it's pretty similar. This position is good, but fairly susceptible to helicopters. Because a helicopter can pop over this ridge over here and be very, very quick to jump on your tank before it has time to pull back into the woods or fall back. So yes, this works, but be careful. When ambushing, infantry in this tree line here. It can shoot in the direction of this road, and it will knock out vehicles pretty damn quick. Finally, a couple of hotkeys that will make your life easier. If you have a unit and you right-click it, it's initially going to take the shortest route. I, as a wargame player, am familiar to press F for fast move and then click, and the unit's going to pick the fastest route in order to get there. F is the fast travel hotkey. You can also use the smart orders here, which currently has the unit set to take the shortest route, but if you switch that to fastest and then right-click somewhere, it is still going to pick the routes that are most ideal for fast travel. If a unit is in contact with an enemy and you suddenly need it to stop, you can either click the stop button here, or you can press E, and E will immediately tell the unit to stop whatever it is doing. As you can see, I told the Abrams to stop, and it immediately pulled back into cover. Make sure that the smart order here, in the middle right side of the screen, is set to cover. This way, if a unit has no orders, when it's inactive, it immediately goes into hiding. And that can save your unit's life. Make sure that you have this set to cover. From my position over here, I want to know what this tank is able to see. If you want to see what a tank can see or a unit can see from any position, well, pardon the pun, but press C. The C key is the line of sight tool. It will tell you what the ranges are, what sort of line of sight this tank has, and currently it's pretty terrible. I already demonstrated this when showing a bit of map control. The position here is much better because I can see a little bit further down the road than I can from over here. So try to find a good position and use C often. Eventually, after a couple of matches, you'll start to realize what the standard ranges are for units. For example, for this Abrams, I know it is 2297, so let's round that up to 2300 meter range. That means that from here, I can target pretty much to the edge of the sector. Of course, I wouldn't want to stay here. I would want to capture that sector with a command unit and probably a tank with some backup. But this is just an example. If you have to fall back, always better to keep units alive than to get them destroyed. If you have to fall back, press G, Gulf. This way, a tank is going to reverse. I'm trying to get the camera to follow it. It's going to reverse. And this is especially important for a tank, because a tank has a different in frontal armor and side armor. If you could casually not get off the road, that would be great. The frontal armor is much, much, much stronger. If you were to just right-click over here, as you were trying to fall your unit back, the tank, and I'm assuming that there is an enemy unit somewhere down that road, this tank suddenly has not 17 armor facing the enemy, but 4. And that is something that every tank can damage and can shoot through, leading to, in this case, the potential destruction of your Abrams. So use Golf, not C, C is the vision tool. Use Golf to make sure your tank reverses away from a position and that it keeps that frontal armor towards the enemy. Finally, you have for infantry to unload before they're going to be useful. There are, again, two different options. You have the buttons bottom right hand side, unload at position and unload. The game already shows you what these keys are bound to. U is unload, Y is unload at position. Unload means immediately get out of the vehicle, right now, and that could be because the unit is in contact. And you can see immediately the infantry disembarks and jumps into the nearest tree line for cover because it is now considered inactive. If you want to load the unit back up, click your infantry unit, you right-click your vehicle, and we're good to go. Now I want to use the Y button to offload when I get into the building on the edge of town. You can see that the unit draws a line. This is the road I'm going to take. And over here in this building, I'm going to offload my forces. Use unload at position to make sure that you don't have to pay constant attention to a unit. The less attention you have to pay to any one particular unit, the more likely you are to win a match, because that means that you're freeing up your attention for something else. As you can see, the Bradley has made it to the position and is going to kick off the infantry. There we go. Building captured. The Bradley is now treated as a separate unit and goes into hiding. Now, in this case, to wrap it up, I would not put the Bradley over here because it can't see shit. I would put the Bradley over here because from here I can see pretty far down that road. I'm not counting the Abrams at the moment. And considering the Bradley is armed with TOW-2 missiles, I can shoot at a tank before it can hit me with a TOW-2 missile. Alright, those are just a few tips. More tips in a tutorial playlist coming to you soon, such as more hotkeys, how to read the map, what strategic positions to take, etc. If you found the video useful, let me know. Hit the like button down below. You'd greatly help me out with that. If you have any questions, leave those down in the comment section, and I'll either answer your question there or turn it into a video if suitable. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Good luck with WARNO. Catch yourself some slack when you're learning the game. You're going to take some losses, but it's all par for the course. Good luck out there.